It is July 16th, 2021. This is the Wrestling Inc. podcast. I'm Glenn Rubenstein, joined by Alfred Konuwa and NYC Demon Diva Issa to talk about SmackDown on Fox. And after a bajillion days, we were roaming in the desert. We didn't know where we were going, and the fans are back. We have found the promised land.
Yep. Yeah, it feels like things are normal again.
Yeah. It feels good. It feels. It does feel beautiful. I really did. I love the feel of tonight's show, and it was very fun watching the fans back and reacting to the certain things they're reacting to, and they were committed to this show, and this feels great. And I hope WWE is able to build a head of steam with these shows.
Yeah, hope so. I mean, we're gonna talk about the news, though. I think we might be getting a bit ahead of ourselves. Enjoy this weekend because Alfred, what's the deal with Atlanta?
Well, yeah, let's throw out some bad news. The September 17th edition of WWE SmackDown on Fox. It will no longer take place at the State Farm Arena in Atlanta, Georgia. It was announced earlier today by the arena that this event has been canceled in that arena. Now, SmackDown's still going to air that day, but it's going to be somewhere else. No reason was given, so I don't know in terms of speculation. Refunds will be issued, but a lot of people were mad about this who were looking forward to going to their first live event in the Atlanta area. I know WWE tickets tend to sell better, out east in that area and whatnot, but it looks like it will not be happening in Atlanta, so they're going to have to move that off, Issa. That's pretty bad news, huh?
Yeah, pretty bad news for those in Atlanta. I think everybody's just looking forward to getting back out to these shows right now, especially, if you're vaccinated, people are just itching to get out. I wonder if that was like a double booking issue or what's going on, because I feel like they're not going to just cancel just like that, So I wonder what really is behind it, but I feel bad. Because I know I personally am dying to get back out to a show. Imagine somebody having those tickets in hand and then finding out that the show's not happening. That's heartbreaking.
It is. I think, fingers crossed, right? Like that everything's going to be smooth sailing, everything's going to be good. But I think in some states right now, there's an air of uncertainty given what's going on with Delta. So.
Yeah. And I mean, we don't want to speculate as to whether it's like health related, as to whether whatever it is. I'm sure, I tend to think that it might be a double booking situation or whatnot, because it seems like a lot of people are looking forward to going to that show, but who knows what it is. And I'm sure we're going to find out more information in the future, but they're definitely going to come back around to Atlanta. The WWE tends to do well in that area in terms of their shows. They have a lot of pay-per-views there.
Yeah, 100%. There's so many double booking issues with so many arenas, because you have new shows that book the arenas, but then you have artists and performers trying to make up for the days that they postpone shows for, that the arenas are just in a pickle of who gets the ownership to, I know AEW had to reschedule their Newark show here like twice because of issues with, with what was going on with the arena. So I think, it's unfortunate, but I can see this happening maybe more than once.
Yeah.
Well, in other news, WrestleMania 38. So there's all these rumors about The Rock coming back to challenge Roman Reigns, but possible plot twist in this whole storyline could see not a one-on-one match, but according to the Wrestling Observer newsletter, we could see a tag team match at WrestleMania 38 in Inglewood, California, where it would presumably be The Rock and one Uso against Roman Reigns and another Uso. The reason being that there might be some concessions that The Rock might need to make in order to stay healthy, do as little as possible. The last few times he did return, he got hurt, and that really set back his production schedule. The Rock really is like a one-man enterprise in terms of his involvement in a movie. So if he gets hurt, that whole movie shuts down, and that costs a lot of money. It costs people their jobs. So it looks like one of the concessions that they might make, again, there's still plenty of time, but The Rock and an Uso versus Roman Reigns and another Uso. Issa, are you here for a tag team match at WrestleMania 38?
Yeah, I think they really want to save that one-on-one for WrestleMania 39 in Los Angeles, because next year is in Dallas, right? Yeah. That being said, I mean, we haven't had a long-term storyline in a while. Well, maybe now with Seth and Edge, apparently that's been building up since like 2014. But I am a big fan of storylines like being built for that long. So why not? And The Rock needs to learn who the real head of the table tribal chief is, so he can start, learning now.
Glenn, what do you think? Are you excited about a potential tag team match? The Usos and The Rock getting involved like that?
It's a little less special being a tag team match, but we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, it would be definitely less novel, but I wouldn't have too much of a problem with it only because, I do sympathize with the fact that he should really stay healthy and whatnot. And then also it's The Rock. I mean, he's such a big star that, you want to see him back in a live event capacity. And then also, I don't want them to take that temptation of possibly having The Rock beat Roman Reigns, because that's always going to be a possibility in their mind. And if they have one-on-one for that title, I really don't want The Rock winning.
That's true.
Title.
Yeah.
True.
Agreed.
Finally, and this will get us right into SmackDown in terms of live returns, and I'm sure we're going to be talking about the return that we saw tonight. It was reported by Fightful Select that the company has like an all-hands-on-deck mentality right now in terms of live touring, welcoming people back. There have been some of these reports about more and more returns, but apparently there are going to be returns beyond what is planned right now. Before we really get into the show, we did see a return tonight, and I do think that WWE did a good job of pacing itself in terms of you didn't see one return after another. We've talked about on this show that I don't think it's a good idea for them to continue to rush people back and then just kind of blow that thing open before we really get going. And I think it's really going to depend on the ratings, to be honest. If I think they see ratings that are disappointing, I think we will see an accelerated return schedule. But for now, it looks like they're going to pace themselves, Issa.
I think they should. I mean, think about it. SummerSlam is selling quite well, and we don't even have a match announced. So why not pace your returns? Because if you give us everything that you got now, what's gonna happen after SummerSlam? It's gonna go right back to that same weird pace. So I'm excited for them to kind of pace it out and save it for after SummerSlam. I don't want to see everybody come back for SummerSlam and then everything just feels like back to the same.
Jody Shaw Jenkins, Canadian $5. Jody, I take back the fan fiction I've been writing about your couple's YouTube account, because this is an epic quote saying, couple thoughts, great to have fans back. I feel AEW's been doing a better job with the fan feel. And for Glenn, is Otis actually Dwayne from Degrassi? Me and like three other people that were watching Degrassi in like the 90s get that reference. But yes, Otis, Jody, I was trying to put my finger on who Otis looked like. Dwayne from Degrassi. He was the bully. He was bullying Joey Jeremiah. Later turned out he was HIV positive, and at the time, groundbreaking storyline. But yes, that's who he reminded me of. So thank you, Jody Shauna Jenkins.
Great
that has made my weekend. Christian James Calderon, $2. Thoughts about the new Titantron set?
I like the Titantron. Don't like the set. It was the first major disappointment of the evening. One of few, but I was very disappointed because I think me and Justin LeBar worked ourselves up into a frenzy the other night talking about, look at all these sets. Remember these sets from WrestleMania 9? And when I heard set and it was going to be a great set, I was expecting, some actual pageantry, but we got just a big screen and everything else looked the same.
I had very, very bad flashbacks to WrestleMania 35. I remember walking into MetLife, so hyped to see the set, and then I finally step in and it's just a giant LED screen, and I'm like, well, this is underwhelming, especially because the last WrestleMania I've been to was Orlando, WrestleMania 33 with that epic set. So I felt so underwhelmed by WrestleMania 35, and it gave me, I have set PTSD because I saw that giant screen today, and I'm like, oh great, this is a mini version of WrestleMania 35.
It was interesting tonight, and we'll go through the segment by segment. I think that I'm curious what some of the draws were tonight, because a lot of the things that I think we thought were super over, maybe were not as over with the live crowd. Like that live crowd tonight might have been a little more casual and not as up on the current product, it felt like, given what they popped for versus what kind of got a flatter reaction.
Sure. Yeah. I wouldn't say it was like, to make the AEW comparison, like that crowd was on fire in terms of a really hot crowd that was literally going crazy for everything. And this crowd, while they were hot, they did pick their spots in terms of what they liked, what they didn't like. And I think once WWE gets out of Texas, nothing against Texas, because this is a good crowd, but once they start going to different places, we're going to get more of those crowds that just know how to stay hot for the whole show. At least on SmackDown, not on Raw, because 3 hours is a long time to stay hot.
Yeah, there are certain cities that I know to be wrestling cities, and I'm looking forward to WWE getting to those cities. I think we have a Chicago coming up in about 2-3 weeks, a Raw. I'm looking forward to that one because I do think there's certain cities that the crowd just feels different, and that's where I really want to get their reaction.
Yeah.
Anything else in the news?
Nothing else in the news. Let's get to the show.
Well, first, we teased it.
Hey,
on Tuesday.
Hey, cheers, everybody. We're back.
We're back. Cheers to surviving the last, whatever. What did they say? 70 weeks or something?
70
That's
weeks.
insane.
I feel like I've aged about 10 years in the last 70 weeks.
Same.
I feel like I look at, okay, so I went the other night, I realized I've been doing this podcast 5 years now. I was like, I'm going to go back and look at an earlier podcast. And I'm sure I'm like, look how young I look. Like, I think I like to pride myself and feel like I haven't aged much since I was like 19. But man, do I see it from the last 5 years.
You have a young face though, Glenn. I think
I do, but it's sad when the boyish age, you know? Like, I'm just gonna like have that weird Mickey Rooney thing going on where I'm gonna be like, you know,
it's not a bad thing to
just
aspire to.
all gray and boyish. Antoine Fair, $5 saying, hey, correspondent Antoine here.
Hey.
That was a Thunderdome SmackDown. We wouldn't have liked that episode, and that Roman boo seemed piped into me. Thoughts? You know, you could do the same thing week in and week out, but sometimes doing it in front of an audience makes it feel new again.
Yeah, and I would say in terms of piping in, I did, just because we've been hearing 70 weeks of Thunderdome, I know what that sounds like. And, you know, even when SmackDown used to be taped, you know what that piped in sound. And I definitely did hear that noise when it was like a backstage segment. A couple of backstage segments seems like they piped it in for that. So who knows how much they were using it. But this crowd, once like the bell rang and they were into a match, did seem like an actual crowd that I don't think WWE was piping in noise throughout the show, but maybe at certain points. And I think Roman Reigns got a really good reaction, to be honest.
I do too. I was paying close attention to it, and I thought that when he first came out, he had a really good reaction.
So we opened tonight. We had Roman and the Usos versus Edge and Rey Mysterio and Dominic Mysterio. This was where it was like, oh my God, the crowd's on fire. They're so happy to be back. I mean, first thing we saw was Vince McMahon come out and just say, where the hell have you been? And
I love that. I love that so much. Where the hell have you been? And he just walks off. I was like, let's go.
Yeah. And that's the thing. So that was hot. The opening match was hot. And I think that's the thing. I think that sustaining, plus, think about the energy. We haven't been doing this for a while. We haven't been going to shows. I think the first concert I go to back post-pandemic, it's going to be like after 3 songs, like, okay, I'm tuckered out. I gotta take a nap. You know, it's been a while. Gotta get my crowd legs back.
I can see that.
But yeah, I think this was a hot opening. This was a really, really hot opening. Issa, to you first. What did you think of the match?
I thought the match was a lot of fun. Expected it to be a lot of fun. I'm glad they opened with it. I thought they were going to save it for the end, and I was kind of hoping that I wanted to see Roman be the first person after Vince McMahon to come out, just because I do feel Roman Reigns was one of the biggest Thunderdome era faces that we have, right? I thought the edge for, like, the pop for Edge is never going to change every single time. Doesn't matter how long he's been around since he came back in Houston at 2020. So it must have, at 2019, sorry, it must have been a good throwback for him to go back to Houston. But it's impressive, his pop. It was Dominic's first match in front of a crowd.
Oh, wow.
As a fun fact, he has not wrestled in front of a crowd yet, so that was fun to see. But I thought they gave it their all. I really like Roman teasing the crowd when he was doing the spots outside of the ring, like yelling at everybody, acknowledge me. I thought that was pretty good of him. Yeah, I thought it was a fun match too. I expected it to be fun. I mean, you had 6 very talented performers in there and a really, really hot crowd. It was the perfect way to start.
Yeah, this whole match was about playing up to the crowd, and I think they did a great job of this. Judging by how the show ended and that spot that they had toward the end, I could see why that wasn't the starter and that was the main event, but this was a perfect way to start off the show, even down the entrances where they really built to that Edge entrance where it got quiet, and then when his music hit, I mean, that's going to be in competition for the pop of the entire weekend in terms of everybody who returns, because that was an insane pop to where, like, you couldn't even hear his music for the early parts of him running out there. So I thought that was really cool and a great way to start the show. And Roman Reigns is such a great heel in terms of getting people to boo him. And then when he gets his come up, it's like he got that spear on the outside and they popped huge because he was chirping at them before. So I thought this was really good.
Whatever.
I'm just saying what happened, Issa.
I understand. I just didn't appreciate any of what happened after the win. I didn't appreciate Edge putting his hands on the Universal title. I hope somebody sanitized that before Roman touched it again. But listen, let him have his moment now. We'll celebrate on Sunday when Roman beats him.
Yeah, this was a hot opening, and I think they did it well by having Roman and Usos get the win, but then it was the Rajgiri booking math that if Edge is standing tall at the end, well, clearly Edge isn't going to win on Sunday.
Right.
But we can let him have his moment tonight. It's a hot opening. It was a really hot opening. It
was a lot of fun.
A lot of fun.
Jay's got red hair now.
Yeah. Craig Creative $2. I was reading this the sad news as we were going to air tonight. Rest in peace to Biz Marquee, another legend gone. 57, man.
Tough year for hip hop. DMX,
yeah.
Biz Marquee. That's not good.
Yeah, not good at all. Man, I was listening the other night to his old stuff with like Roxanne Shante. I was going down that wormhole, and he's just so good. I mean, just one of the innovators in hip hop.
RP Shock G too.
Yeah, man. You're right. This has really been just an awful year.
Yeah.
For hip hop. We went from that. So we had some promos. We had some building up of the matches on Sunday. Rollins interrupting Edge.
That outfit was amazing. The star suit with the red shirt and shoes. The drip.
When did the drip become a good thing?
I liked it since he came out in all leather the first time he returned, but that's just me. I know not everybody's a fan of it, but I've been a big fan of the fashion choices that Seth Rollins have been making.
Yeah, he's playing it up. I think it's hit or miss, and this was I don't know about this one with the stars, but he's doing his thing. I did like the promo that Seth Rollins cut on Edge, though. I thought that was a very good promo. It was very good in planting the seeds. Not to get ahead of ourselves, I like that he went over in terms of being the guy who kind of stepped up to Edge, and you've kind of got him on your mind now. And that line that he had about Edge making Money in the Bank famous, I like how he tied that all together. This is really good. I really hope he does get away from this if he feuds with Edge. And I part of me thinks just because Edge is like kind of a micromanager when it comes to his feuds, and he's just really creative mind and he wants everything to hit a certain way. I think Edge might encourage Seth Rollins to just kind of get more serious in terms of them feuding, because I don't know if Edge wants to feud with the more comedy type version of Seth Rollins.
But Edge did show up on the bump wearing the robe and the sunglasses, trying to act like Seth Rollins did. So I was like, please don't go in that direction. Please don't. Like, I really want this to be because these two guys can cut some promos. So I am looking forward to this feud, but I need it, like you said, Alfred, to be like more serious. I need both of them to like really take each other seriously. Seth Rollins tried to end Edge in 2014.
Yeah,
come on.
Exactly. They should call back to that too. Did you guys see that exchange that Edge had with R-Truth, where he said he's got the most championships, he doesn't count the 24/7 titles, and then R-Truth went on Twitter and said, "I don't count your 31 titles either, so we even."
Yeah. Yep, it was genius.
Absolutely. Alonzo Smith saying Seth Rollins in his loud suits. Why the hell does Becky Lynch let him out of the house looking like that? You guys ever had that before? Alfred, I'm just assuming this is more of a guy thing. Issa, I doubt you would ever have a significant other that would question your impeccable taste and fashion. But Alfred, do you ever get checked by the significant other where it's like, you're not going out wearing that?
Sure, but I'm very stubborn, and I think she understood. I was in a long-term relationship for like 4 years, not anymore, and I'm not married, and so I wear whatever I want. I'm sure any of these floral shirts, my significant other would say to tone it down, but I'm very stubborn. So if somebody tells me not to do something, I'll probably do it even louder. So maybe I will have a Seth Rollins suit if somebody tells me not to wear it.
Sure. What about you, Glenn? What did your wife tell you not to leave the house wearing?
I have a pair of shorts that look like kind of like jams from the early 90s that I have to hide because my wife will throw them away if she finds them. She hates when I wear them. And one time I was wearing them out, and my mother-in-law saw me, and she went, "Oh, cool shorts, Glenn." And I was like, "See, your mom thinks they're cool." And it's like she was being sarcastic.
Yeah.
We've all got our items, but no, my wife was like, I mean, we went to Disneyland 80s night. Like, I was wearing the Zubas and the, like Zubas top and bottom. Like, and she had no problem with that. So,
what color?
I was wearing the classic black and white zebra pants, but then I had like a loud, like purple and orange top.
Oh, let's go.
You guys do that on the podcast one of these days. You can't just say that.
Yeah, I have like my Terminator X sunglasses. There's photos on my Twitter. Like, it's out there. I think it's on my Instagram too, from 80s night at I spiked up my hair and everything. It was fantastic. So Wrestling Enthusiast 499. Thank you so much, Wrestling Inc. team, for providing us content during these times. Is there a chance this variant ruins upcoming events? A bit worried. I mean, I think we're going to know in 2 weeks. And look at what's going on in Vegas right now. So as today with breaking news, some of the casinos in Vegas are mandating masks indoors again. Vegas right now is a particular area of concern given all the tourist activity there. So I think, SummerSlam is, that's going to be huge. It is at an outdoor venue, but it'll be interesting to see if there's something it's going to affect on a grand scale. I mean, that will be the one.
Yeah, I believe Los Angeles as well started mandating indoor mask as well. So this is like, people need to just get vaccinated. Come on.
Yeah, I know. I mean, we've tried everything. We've tried just bribing them. That's
lottery.
Yeah, lottery. Yeah.
But God forbid you go door to door and offer, hey, we could just do this right here, right now. That's too far, apparently. It's crazy. So I mean, hey, fingers crossed. I want this to be over with. I'm just worried. I'm nervous about all this. And tonight, didn't see a lot of voluntary masking in that crowd tonight.
I don't think I saw any. Did you guys see masks in the crowd?
I saw one. Like there was somebody riding like the fourth row wearing a mask.
Okay.
Yeah, I saw a guy or two that was like rocking the chin diaper, like he doesn't know how the mask works.
I did see that.
Or I'm dangling it off the ear. Like I've never understood.
When I went to my nephew's graduation, he kept wearing it as a chin diaper, and I was like, "Can you please take it off?" And he was like, "No, it's covering my acne." So he was actually keeping it there just to cover his acne, and I'm like, "What the heck?"
That would have been good. I should have tried that when I was a teenager instead of that Retin-A crap. So we had Sami Zayn going out cutting a great heel promo where you're like, oh, the crowd tried justice for Sami, so obnoxious, and the crowd not getting into it, and then him turning on the crowd before he's interrupted by returning Finn Balor, who attacked him. What did you think of this segment, Alfred?
I like the segment. I loved Sami Zayn in this segment. I will say, I don't think Finn Balor got that big of a reaction in terms of what I expected. I know it was out there. They seemed to be into his pose, and when the music died down, they did definitely cheer for him. But there was he came out, and I didn't think it was as big as I thought it was going to be. And they were kind of waiting for the welcome back chant, and it didn't come. And then Sami, he said, "Okay, welcome back, Finn." And they still didn't chant it, but they did seem happy to see Finn Balor. I just think he's been away for too long because in addition to this pandemic, he was off the main roster for about a year down in NXT. So, maybe it'll just take some while. And again, we've talked about this before in terms of I'm just so much of a bigger fan of the Demon than Finn Balor, the character.
I miss the Demon.
I want to see the Demon back.
Me too. I love the promo that Sami Zayn cut. There's nobody that you can bring out to reel up a crowd. Like, as soon as his music hit, I was so excited because I knew he was going to just come out there and kill it. I think that Finn Balor's time in NXT might have just hurt his crowd reaction a little bit. I mean, everybody was raising their arms. The entrance was what they wanted it to be. It was like Alfred said right after, it felt like the momentum kind of like died down a little bit. You have to build him up. I did expect him to come back to Raw. I saw some rumors going around today that he was coming back. I thought he would come back for Apollo, maybe put him in an IC title feud. Regardless, it's good to have Finn back in the main roster. There's nothing left for him to do in NXT after that last run. So it's exciting to see another big name, back on the main roster.
It's weird. Like the crowd seemed like they recognized him. They seem more familiar with him than Rick Boogs tonight, or some of the other talent.
Yeah, I mean, Rick Boogs is still relatively new. And I actually like what Rick Boogs, he did a good job in terms of, maybe they didn't react to him in general, but just firing that crowd up for Shinsuke. And I think he was great tonight.
Yeah.
Well, and kind of the same thing when we had Shotzi and Knox come out, I got to admit, I thought this was going to be huge. And I think a lot of this crowd does not watch NXT. They seem completely unfamiliar.
Definitely.
A lot of people don't watch NXT, period. Yeah, I mean, they're not doing that great in the ratings. So that's the one thing that I will say I felt consistent with AEW is who the people that I thought were going to be over were over when I heard the crowds back. Where with WWE, I am in shock with certain reactions, and I know it's just day one of it. But AEW was very like, I knew this person would get a pop. I knew this person would get a pop. But like you said, I was a little bit underwhelmed with the Chatzi and Tegan reaction, but maybe they're just not familiar with them and let them establish themselves.
Yeah, that's definitely what it is. We have to remember less than half of this audience. So SmackDown does around 2 million viewers, and NXT was up this week and it did just over 700,000. So that's less than half of this audience that really follows NXT. So it's really the hardest of the hardcores. And so you give it time. I think Shotzi and Knox are going to be stars in time. But for now, they just got called up out of nowhere. There was no build up to it. I think it's going to take a while before these fans really know how to react to these people.
It also probably doesn't help that they were getting a rematch of a match that we just saw last week.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I get that the crowd's going to be hot, but it's just like, okay, so another non-title match between the same people. They could have made it a title match, you know, just saying.
But now they're number one contenders after Knox and Chatzi got the win tonight.
So to beat the champ, you have to beat the champs, then beat the champs again, and then beat the champs again.
And then a third time.
Come on.
You know what I don't like? I love that Chatzi and Knox are winning their matches. I just don't like this Barry Horowitz reaction, like, "Oh my God, I won! Oh, we did it!" Like, they don't like on the Price is Right.
Right. Agreed.
It's true. It is true. Okay, let's see. I said I would find it, and I found it. There.
Oh, MG!
Oh yeah!
I love that.
Hardcore.
And my wife was fully on board with this.
That's
some drip right there. Seth Rollins better watch out.
Oh my God, this should be the podcast.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, for the past year and a half on this podcast, I've got this one shirt in my office, and I just toss this on sometimes when I don't want to wear a t-shirt.
Me and Glenn are almost matching.
I know it's we did not plan this, but we did plan the pina colada thing.
Yes, we did.
No, good for Knox and Shotzi. I mean, I felt like the crowd got into it, but this is where there were just started to be a little bit of a lull.
Yeah.
I mean, look, you can't have nothing but peaks, you know? Something's got to have a valley. But I really
this was a match with Liv Morgan and Zelina Vega on commentary, right?
Yeah.
That was the worst thing on the show. It
was. They sound like I'm watching a bad version of Mean Girls. It's bad. They sound like high schooler, like middle school girls feuding. I don't like it. They need to just be a little bit more serious. It sounds very whiny, and I want to get behind them, but I didn't like this on commentary at all.
Yeah, I didn't mind it so much from Zelina because she's a heel. That's her role. But it was like Liv Morgan was trying to be just as obnoxious as her and trying to compete with her obnoxiousness instead of just being just a level-headed babyface, because Liv as a babyface wrestler is incredible. And I think these fans can really get behind her. But on commentary, my goodness, it's like, good thing this crowd didn't hear this, because this was not good.
Damn, Alfred.
And then after, I mean, so they got into it. Tamina attacked Liv. Natalya grabbed Zelina. So all of them are going to be in the Money in the Bank match. Shotzi and Knox are not, but now they're the new number one.
How do you guys feel about Tamina being the last person added to the match? There was so much fantasy booking going on, and then they add Tamina. What do you guys think?
I heard Becky's name out there. Sasha might come back.
Yeah. Sonya. I thought it was going to be Sonya. I was rooting for Sonya Deville to put herself in the match.
Could still happen.
Yeah, I'm kind of think Sonya's going to win. Part of me thinks that some swerve is going to happen in this match.
Okay, hopefully.
Antoine, $2 saying Liv's Jersey Roots came
out. They did.
Yeah.
They're great, but they shouldn't have booked her like this. I didn't think she came off as a babyface in this segment. If she was a heel, but even then, this was a very annoying segment to get through, and I don't think they did Liv any favors based on the fact that they're really building her as the top babyface of this match.
Yeah. Okay, so one thing we did confirm, though, tonight, Bianca Belair is hella over with the crowd.
Oh, my God.
Yes. So excited to hear that reaction for Bianca. It's exactly what I wanted it to be. And there was people that were there that were telling me that it felt much louder in person than what it might have came out on TV. So good for her.
Absolutely. So her match tonight against Carmella for the SmackDown Women's title. No surprise that Bianca won. Love the new entrance graphics they had with her. I mean, just her presence. Like, this was just such a great moment. So well received. Issa, what'd you think of this match?
It was very predictable. We all knew Bianca was winning, but I really wanted to see her out there just to hear the crowd reaction. It did not disappoint. I gotta give Carmella some props. She had that feud with Sasha, and she kind of stood her own against Sasha, and she did it again with Bianca tonight. I know a lot of people were not, in agreement with Carmella getting this match, but I feel like she's improving in the ring a lot more than what people give her credit to. She was great tonight, but the best one won, and I'm excited to see Bianca be where I figure she will be with the crowd. She's a great babyface. You have to root for her. You just have to.
Yeah. That very well put. And tremendous babyface. This was great because you could have watched this, and I'm sure there's a lot of people like this who just stopped watching wrestling over the pandemic, and maybe this is the first time they've come back into it with no context. And you'll know this is the biggest star on the show, arguably, in that between the entrance, the announcements, and the match itself, this crowd getting into her and chanting EST throughout the building. And I do agree that the crowd did seem maybe kind of a little muted, because when you would look, the visual of the wide shot, these people are on their feet cheering and clapping, and even though it was loud, you would think it would sound much louder than that, and it was. But I think in the building it had to have just sounded like it was so great, because I thought Bianca was great in this match. I thought Carmella was pretty good, but this was a good kind of old school babyface versus heel championship match, and they did a good job with Bianca, making her look like a star, which was the directive of this segment, and it was a home run.
Yeah, absolutely what it needed to be. Steve Marcuccielli, $2.99, saying Shotzi reminds me of Lita, star potential. I think Shotzi is going to be huge.
Yeah, me too. That's actually really, really good. I didn't think about that until now. He said that, and I'm like, yeah, you're right.
Honestly, that's the challenge of her pairing with Knox, with Tegan, is just, Shotzi is such a standout.
Yeah, and listen, that tank, you talk about merchandise, they do toys with that tank. I'm sure younger kids would have fun playing with it and riding it around, doing something with Hot Wheels maybe. I think there's a lot of potential with Shotzi to make a lot of money for that company.
Well, and here's the crazy thing.
They're gonna sell like real replicas that kids can ride, but then grown men are gonna buy them and ride them into the arenas to go to the shows. It's gonna be such a mess through security. Oh no, don't give them ideas.
They're gonna have signs like no tanks past this point.
Yeah.
They're gonna have tank parking spots outside of the arena.
Yeah, that's how you make money off. That's an even better idea. That's how you make money off.
Yeah. But I'll tell you though, so this is why for Tegan Knox I'm worried. Ember Moon looked Shotzi's equal. Ember has all that experience, has that look, has that presence, that swagger. She's a character. Knox needs to turn it up to 11. Like, you can't be, or they have to make her completely the straight woman,
right,
to her loud, flamboyant partner. They've got to find a way to balance this. Like, I think it's putting her in a tough position.
It is. Yeah. It is. She looks very different next to where Ember Moon did not. Like, Ember Moon and Chatzi was a 50-50 equal yin-yang. This is not really, doesn't feel that way. But you got to give Tegan Knox her time. I'm sure she'll get, she'll get a grasp of her character, whatever it is supposed to be at this point.
Vince is backstage going, I thought she was like a wizard or something.
Tegan Knox, I thought she was an iPhone. Because, charging.
The battery.
Yeah. Touche. She should have come out with one of those like cell phone, like outside the cellular store. No,
she should just start like dying halfway through the match, and then somebody has to like plug her in.
They should have the charger on the screen, and then as it gets more and more, everyone's like, tag her in, she's charged. She's charged up.
That is solid. It's like in 2K, you want to hit your special meter and
Yeah, when she's not tagged in, she's like plugged in. She's like a freaking Tesla now.
This
is why one of us has to get a job in creative. Like, you got this, we've got Baron Corbin's Life of Crime. We'll touch on that in a minute. We've got my idea that Bray Wyatt can possess people and be a different wrestler playing Bray each week. There's so much creative can do. Oh man, Chad Gable and Otis were cutting a promo talking about what the locker room smells like. Fear. It smells like fear. They smell fear.
Wouldn't that be Houston then? Because, this is a whole new locker room. So maybe it's like the city itself. Maybe they're just not used to like leaving the Thunderdome and forgot what, the outside smells like.
Yeah, it might be barbecue that they're smelling.
And if there was any humor, Cesaro, when he interrupted them, should have had Febreze and just been walking in. Just like...
Now that you mention it.
Yeah. At least there were no jokes when they're talking about smell and taste, like no jokes at Otis's expense. So I give them a little more credit for that. But man, Otis just.
This is not Otis. This is like a Doppler danger. Like, I don't know what they did with him.
Yeah.
I don't know. Something is going on here.
Otis was so over before. Otis tonight was not over.
He was the most over guy, arguably, before everything shut down, and he was just on this rocket launcher. And it's almost like they took everything that makes him special, and they said, "Okay, take that away. No beard, no charisma, no
Mandy Rose,
no Mandy Rose." He just sits there, and he's a machine. Literally, they said it on the show. He's a machine. Like, he delivers his lines robotically. Like, they've completely overthought and butchered this character beyond belief, and it's very sad to see.
It is tonight. So there was DQ finish to this with Gable attacking Cesaro. Cesaro interrupted. It was Otis versus Cesaro, but Gable attacked DQ, and then they got into it. I mean, look, in a way, this is good because Cesaro's an opportunity. It's going to be like a solid match. There's a lot they can do with this, but I don't know, man.
We can all agree Cesaro's push is over, right? From facing Roman to facing this.
I will say, one of the more over things on this show was the fans wanting that swing. They really, really got into him doing that swing, and they're going to build to him doing it to Otis. But it's a move that's over that he does. He just needs the whole package. But they were very excited to see the swing.
Yeah, it also proves that people cannot count. They never count that swing correctly. It drives me crazy.
They need to decide when the revolution starts, because I don't think they can all get on the same page with that. And it always seems like they're behind.
Yeah.
Man, AJ in the chat proving the point. Just Google Chatzi. She has a great look. Maybe I'll watch her match.
Hey.
Visuals, I mean, that's a big part of what gets into it. Characters. I mean, think back when I was a kid and like Transformers versus GoBots. Transformers looked so much cooler. GoBots, like never had a chance. The dorky Scooter, named Scooter, like was not cool, but everyone wanted Optimus Prime.
Yeah, you could change him into cars. You could change him into other things. You don't always have to have the toy and the robot there, and there's plenty of stuff you can do with them.
I was watching old commercials the other night on that 80s Commercial Vault channel, and I've forgotten about the Transformers that like the Decepticons that were disguised as Autobots.
Yeah.
And you had to like rub the decal to see if it was really a Decepticon or an Autobot. I've been watching way too many commercials lately. We put it on the other night. We've been through in the last month, we've gone through volumes 1 through 200. So each one of those is about 10 minutes. But we just put that on in the evening and just let it go, and watch old 80s commercials. It's great. Great way to spend an evening. So Big E backstage with Paul Heyman. This is the sitcom I want this fall.
This is good. I like that they, positioned Big E next to Paul Heyman. Listen, this is a good night for Big E if we're talking about that Raj Giri match you're referring to, because not only was he rubbing shoulders with Paul Heyman, but as we'll get into later, did not win. But, if you pay attention to how WWE books, maybe they're setting him up to win, but you never know. Money in the Bank is always very unpredictable, so I'm not getting my hopes up too high.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but it was good to hear the crowd react to Big E as soon as he said, "Oh, Paul Heyman," you could hear the pop. They still
yeah, they really pop for him.
Yeah, and then this might have been my segment of the night. Baron Corbin, deviled in the ring. Not the high point of the night, but the best promo of the night.
Yeah,
only got like 1 or 2 chants. That was good. But talking about his hardship, and I love how he talks about like savings, investments, might lose a house, and his daughter is sick. She has to eat spaghetti from a can. They had to fire their maid. And then actually, this was the best part. Go back and watch this on the replay. Corbin said that things are so bad they're gonna have to move in with his wife's parents. They pan to the crowd, and there's a guy turning to his friend and be like, "Ha! Like you had to do," laughing at his buddy.
I missed that. I gotta go back and see that. That's hilarious.
Yeah, you could see the exact thing where he's pointing at him and laughing, and the guy's like, "No, what are you gonna do? You got me." This was great. And then Corbin Fund. Then they registered it, and if you want to know. Oh, here's a story for the dirt sheets. How long ago did they come up with Corbin Fund? Wednesday, because that's when it was registered, the domain, corbinfund.com. Not a functional website. It's a JPEG.
Yeah, but it's an actual web. I mean, it's a website that links to a JPEG.
The best part about it is if you visit it, it said that due to financial difficulties, this website is under construction. So he's so broke that he cannot even put his own funded website together. I thought that was a nice touch.
This character is awesome, and I'm glad that, because of course, I'm sure a lot of people did, I went to that site to make sure it wasn't a fully functioning site, because wrestling fans are some of the most loyal people in the world, and there would be some people
they would have given you money. I almost threw money at it. I had to go to it. I was like, this thing is real, but yeah, no, it's just a JPEG.
Yeah, thank God. You got to protect people from themselves sometimes. But
I'm telling you, what did I say? That he needed to join a life of crime, and what is better than a fake funding website? You know how many people have fallen for that?
For sure, like a Ponzi scheme.
But here, if they had any balls, they would have had him out in the parking lot selling bootleg WWE T-shirts tonight during the show. They absolutely should do that.
Kind of like how they have the New Day used to go out there and throw out cheesesteaks to everybody to get the crowd kind of warmed up. That would be really funny if he had the like "we'll work for food" or something like that shirt on.
No, but just every time I go to a WWE event, there's a guy out there with like a big stack of like 24 shirts, selling them for like $10 a pop.
Yeah,
you know. But no, and I have to say, I like the restraint. This was like weird sophistication on WWE's part, or maybe Vince thinks this is what poverty is. Because I was gonna say it's kind of sophisticated that they're not making fun of people that are actually broke and struggling. Where he's like, "Well, I've got my mansion, I had to let my maid go. Like now we're eating this instead of this." But it's like maybe that's what Vince thinks real poverty is. Like, oh my God, you have to fire your maid. Like you're gonna next stop the soup kitchen. You're going to Skid Row after this. You know,
you have to repossess your Bugatti.
Also, I'm extremely concerned for his daughter because I see him on Twitter all the time making some really good meals, but he said the daughter is eating spaghetti out of a can. So who's eating these meats that he's grilling, or has he resorted to selling this food that he's cooking because he's so broke? I don't know. Just throwing that out there.
And there is something, it is astounding whoever realized that him letting his hair grow back makes him look so schlubby.
Yes. I think that's what makes the act. It
really does.
It's worse every week because he just keeps growing it out. And I like he's not necessarily seeking sympathy. They're still playing the heel card where he got a great heel reaction. I think he, right next to Roman Reigns in terms of getting booed. And he's being like passive aggressive, like, Kevin, come on, you don't spend any money on your clothes. And then he told Texas, he's like, I know the people in Texas are very cheap, but so this is great that he's still being a heel. But yeah, so it's easier to hate him for being broke.
Yeah. So everybody donate to Baron Corbin. In fact, Bid Moon 499 says the other half of my super chat went to the Corbin Fund. Great show tonight. No. Joe Kerr wants to know the crappy Corbin finisher be called the happy ending.
Oh man, please.
I could if it were the Attitude Era, absolutely.
You could call it happy ending is just a happy ending, man.
There was a show called Happy Endings on ABC.
Yeah, it's not a bad thing. It's network TV. You can say happy ending on network TV. There's nothing wrong with it.
I bet you Vince won't know the double entendre meaning of it, though, which will make it even better.
Yeah, I think he'd love it. I think he'd pop for that. He likes that kind of stuff.
Oh, that's true. I'm sure there'll be a T-shirt. It'll give the other terrible ones a run for their money. But no, this was fantastic tonight. Kevin Owens interrupts. Yes, he said, Kevin, clearly you don't spend money on clothes. Like Kevin hitting him with a stunner. This was great. Baron Corbin, hottest act in WWE right now.
They were begging for him to take a stunner. They were chanting stunner by the end of this segment.
Yeah.
It's good. And then KO staying out there because we had the Fatal 4-Way in the main event preview of Money in the Bank. Kevin Owens versus Big E versus Shinsuke Nakamura versus Seth Rollins. Rick Boogs playing Shinsuke out to the ring. And maybe they didn't mess with the audio. I would have thought the crowd, even if you didn't know who Rick Boogs was, the fact you've got a guy coming out there doing that, in my mind, that is like the cheapest pop you can get from a crowd. It's like, how's everybody doing tonight? Like, we love you, Houston. Like, it's just pure, just catnip for live audiences.
Right. Agree. But I think they just wanted to get to sing in Shinsuke's theme because they did sang the song and Shinsuke was feeling it. I love seeing. There was a couple of them that had such a reaction to seeing that crowd, and I felt so happy for the performers that had to go from performing in front of so many people to performing in front of no one. Tonight was such a big deal for them. How do you keep it together? I'm surprised nobody got too emotional or anything. Shinsuke, you could tell, was feeling that moment, and it was awesome to see.
Yeah. That was great. It reminded me of that WrestleMania entrance, that great WrestleMania entrance he had a few years ago.
He should have won that night.
He should have won that night. And when Shinsuke feeds off that crowd, he did this in Japan too. He puts his entire body into it. And it was great to see that because, it's hard to do that every single week. If there's nobody in the building, you feel like an idiot if you're just like jumping around. But with people there, he really feeds off that energy.
Antoine Fair, $5 saying you can't say happy ending without thinking of a happy ending. LOL, come on, son.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm thinking of a fairy tale,
Yeah, I don't know what he's talking about. Which I don't know if this is related or not. I used to live in Koreatown right next to a spa, and at least once a month there'll be police there breaking something up. But,
Anyhow, back to the Fatal 4-Way tonight. Because I don't got time to edit this podcast after we get done.
See what they were breaking up. I said the police would be there.
Kevin Owens versus Big E versus Shinsuke versus Rollins. Great match. Went on for a decent amount of time. Seth Rollins got the win. So, and then I hate when they do this. I hate when they unhook the Money in the Bank briefcase before and grab it and like, see, this is what I'm going to look like on Sunday. It's like I pre-won it now. Don't even bother showing up. I'm the winner. Yay.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's lame, but they went off the air with that. It was a good visual, whatever. But so your prediction, Alfred, is that because Seth won tonight, Big E is going to get it on Sunday?
I mean, more so because Big E got pinned tonight, and it just seems like they're trending toward it as the smart money has started. You know, the smart money will really come in Sunday, but as the lines have moved, they've moved in Big E's favor. So there is a push kind of. It seems like he's more and more of a favorite. I think it makes sense for Big E to win. You know, who knows? It always seems very random. I think I very rarely have I ever correctly predicted the Money in the Bank winner, and you know, Brock freaking Lesnar won it a couple years ago. So who knows who could win this one? But it looks like Big E's trending toward winning that thing.
Issa, who you got?
I was really rooting for Seth or Shinsuke. As soon as I saw him win tonight and climb that ladder, I was like, yeah, Seth's not happening, right? I would love to see Big E win it. I think Shinsuke will be super entertaining with it. The thing with the men's Money in the Bank is that as long as it's not Drew McIntyre, I'm not gonna be mad. And it's gonna be such a good match. Like, we saw Ricochet and John Morrison on Raw, and then we saw this fatal 4-way tonight. Kevin Owens, that spot that he did onto Shinsuke on the announce table. This match on Sunday, who cares who wins? It's gonna be probably it's on paper could be one of the best Money in the Bank ladder matches we see with the participants alone. So I'm just excited to see it. As long as they all just take out Drew McIntyre right away, I'm gonna be perfectly happy.
No, I agree. Here's what I like about this match. There is some potential in terms of storyline with potential winners, whether it's Riddle's doing that thing with Randy Orton, where maybe Randy Orton gets jealous of him if he wins. Big E, if he wins the Money in the Bank, you know, Lashley's feuding with the New Day right now, so that might end up with Big E cashing in. And then even Drew McIntyre, which I don't want him to win it, but he has that thing where he can't challenge Lashley, so the longer Lashley has it, the more Drew can't challenge Lashley. So it'll be intriguing to see how that plays out, although that's a result I don't want to see.
Please don't speak it into us. Take it back. Take it back. I'm gonna do to you like Orton does to Riddle.
Mickey.
Yeah. Maybe Orton comes back and helps Riddle instead of costing that.
Yeah, I expect to see Orton, and I really hope he doesn't. It's too early to break these two up and to have them turn or anything like that. They still haven't. They're building toward them posing together. They haven't even done that in front of a live crowd, which I think people would pop huge for it. So I do expect to see Orton get involved in that Money in the Bank match, and hopefully it's to help him. But I don't want to see Riddle. I mean, it'll be great if Riddle wins, but I really want to see Big E win this match.
I would like to see Shinsuke win.
That'd be nice. He's got the crown already. How much more does he need? I mean, he's got everything.
Yeah.
He needs everything. He needs everything.
King Rail, $5. Big E has become more serious. Cheering for the guy just seems silly at times, in my opinion.
Yeah, agreed. But okay. I would like to see him win. But I agree.
I watched his documentary, and it really kind of changed my mind on that whole you got to be more serious thing, because that's not for him. Like that, Biggie's not a guy who, when he's himself, is always going to be serious. He knows when to be serious, but at his heart, he's kind of a goofball, and he wants to goof around here and there. But I think he does a good job tempering that, and he did a good job explaining that in that documentary. And that, like, you're never going to see me be 100% serious all the time, and I agree with that, because I don't think he'd be comfortable doing that.
The problem is, it's not. I don't want to say like a serious thing. It just feels like you're doing the New Day thing without the New Day.
Yeah, it's a franchise.
And that, you know, and I get it, because I don't feel like the New Day broke up. They just split them because of the brand, right? But it feels like you're still doing the New Day and your two bodies are missing. And I just feel like there needs to be a change of character. Like, something needs to change. Sure. And I do think if we wins the briefcase and he ends up becoming champion, we could see that.
See, I think it's more like a CSI Miami sort of situation, and this is just New Day SmackDown, New Day Raw. Yeah. You know, we're just expanding to multiple nights.
Right.
Yeah, there you go. I like the franchise idea. Yeah. But I think they're going to be reunited soon enough.
Me too.
Keith Robinson, $2. Pat McAfee, 7 Nation Army for his intro.
Ooh, an exclusive.
Nice.
That's perfect.
Nice.
Great arena song.
Yeah.
It is.
I personally thought even commentary sounded better today. And I think that McAfee has been so great. But even Michael Cole, you could see how hyped he was. Like, I don't know. There was, except for the part where the girls were on commentary, I thought even the commentary thing was like even on a different level tonight. It's the
having a crowd. Yeah. It helps. So a win tonight, even though some stuff was a little repetitive, even though this is just a bump in the road towards Money in the Bank. Crowds are back. Monumental. Can't ignore that. Energy was the best it's been in a long time.
Yeah.
You know?
Sure. I think we're going to start seeing the bigger angles coming out of Money in the Bank, because you have to remember they still had a show to promote to. So there's a lot of loose ends they had to tie up. So it didn't lend itself to doing all these hot angles. So once the Money in the Bank is wrapped up, I think starting with Raw, it's going to feel like kind of a reset in that, okay, we got some new stories to tell. We got some more people coming back. But this was good. This was a very well-paced show in terms of what they presented this live crowd.
Okay, but why did they add the Usos and the Mysterios for the tag titles on the pre-show? On the pre-show?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
come on, that's like you took off the women's title match. That should have made the main card and put like Sami Zayn and Finn Balor. I don't know. You could have put a non-title match, a made-up match, Otis against I don't know, someone on the pre-show. I feel like this match should not be on the pre-show.
Yeah, and I also feel like, especially if the Usos win, like it's a lost opportunity they were kind of slowly telling that story of not only them winning a match and winning the tag team titles, but them getting back together on the same page and then doing it. And you kind of accelerated that story by just saying, oh, by the way, they're going to fight on the pre-show.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. This is going to be exciting Sunday. I'm excited to do the pay-per-view.
For Money in the Bank.
Be so great.
I think it's going to be a lot of fun. It's a great pay-per-view to have a crowd back. Money in the Bank is exciting, and I think there's going to be some fun matches.
I think second to the Royal Rumble, in my opinion. Money in the Bank's my second favorite pay-per-view.
Oh, interesting. So WrestleMania would be third or lower?
WrestleMania is just kind of tedious, you know, sometimes. I mean, like that's a lot of WrestleMania is a lot of wrestling. Like it's good and it's fun, but it's kind of like the Super Bowl. Actually, it's like the Super Bowl without commercials. We don't even get the fun commercial stuff on WrestleMania.
3 straight hours of football.
Yeah, well, but WrestleMania, it's like the pageantry. I don't know. It just feels like...
It feels very for the casuals, to where I feel like the Royal Rumble SummerSlam feels more for like hardcore fans. You know, WrestleMania, they'll sacrifice a storyline to put a match that people will buy a ticket or a pay-per-view for, to where the other pay-per-views, we kind of get what we really want to see. But yeah, my favorite is the Royal Rumble.
Me too.
Antoine Fair, $2 saying it's Jimmy's punishment to win the title on the pre-show.
I didn't want to say it. Thank you, Antoine. I didn't want to say it, but that is exactly what came to my mind.
They have to win. They have to win.
I mean,
yeah, you might. I can see Money in the Bank going off the air with Reigns and the Usos holding their titles in the air, and it's like, we run this.
That would be beautiful.
I'm sure you think so. Would you like that, Glenn?
I'm okay with that. I mean,
just okay.
I would like to see. I want the Street Profits to come back and face the Usos at SummerSlam.
Where are they? I mean, I know they got written out, but like, where are they?
Injury.
Well, in order for that to happen, we need the Usos to win.
Yes, I agree. It'll be good. Okay, so Sunday, me, Alfred, Disa, are you on Sunday or?
I don't think so. Think so.
Who? Yeah, maybe Justin LaBar.
Yeah, I think it might be Justin.
It'll be good to see Justin again.
That'll be fun.
I get him to run that Vince impression into the ground. Cool. Hey, everyone. Have a good weekend. He is at This Is Nasty. She's at NYC Demon Diva. That's Diva with the 1. Raj Giri really needs to update that on-screen graphic. I'm at Glenn Rubenstein. Follow us all for our random musings on the Twitters. And we'll get you back here Sunday on the Wrestling Inc. podcast. Have a good weekend, everyone. Good night.